Yo, what's good people? So I have a absolute banger here for you today. Sigil Witch at 7-star rank 4 level. We have the showcase. She's destroying champions like Serpent, Deathless Thanos, and way more. Now, Sigil Witch has always been a very underrated champion for Battlegrounds specifically. I know because she was one of my first ever 6-star rank 5s, and I used her so much in the early days of Battlegrounds. Keep in mind, this was like when Maestro first came out and there wasn't that many good Mystic champions. There was barely any counters to him. I was using my little Sigil Witch to nuke 7-star rank 3s in like under 60 seconds. It was getting me accused of modding because this was before I did YouTube. So yeah, Sigil Witch has been insane for a very long time. But now that the skip special free button is being added to Battlegrounds, I think she's going to be very relevant. You can see that was a 7-star rank 4 Serpent, same HP level as a 7-star rank 4 Serpent would have in Battlegrounds in under a minute, well under a minute. That's insane. And now we have this Deathless Thanos and she's going to do the exact same thing to him. So how does Sigil Witch work? Well, she has these instabilities. If you use a special 1, you'll gain 2 instabilities. If you use a special 2, you'll gain 1 instability. These instabilities basically give you and your opponent a chance to gain a buff. Every time that little timer runs out below Sigil Witch, you see the little timer with a star around it. It won't be here because I've just used all my instabilities on the special 3. And that was a 45-second Deathless Thanos nuke, which is insane, bro. There's barely any champions in the game that can nuke a Deathless Thanos that fast. But basically, you want to gain these instabilities. You want to gain 5 or 6 of them, then go to your special 3 to spend the instabilities and turn them into massive degeneration. Not only does the degeneration of the special 3 do big damage, but the special 3 itself hits extremely hard as well. That was a 20-second Medusa fight, bro. Because the way Sigil Witch works is she can copy certain buffs, and one of these is Fury buffs. So against champions like Medusa, which gain a lot of Fury buffs, you can just steal them for yourself and hit extremely hard right out of the gate. Now you don't have to go to special 3 with Sigil Witch at all actually. You can in fact use your special 2s and it's really solid damage still. In some cases even better than the special 3, like with this fam here. The special 3, it does apply damage over time. It has a chance to either apply poison, incinerate or cold snap. It's completely randomized. A lot of people like to hate on Sigil Witch because she's RNG, but even if you get like the worst of the worst RNG, bro, the special 3 still hits extremely hard. The degen still hits super hard. So she's not that RNG. RNG does make her faster, it does make her do better damage, but even in the worst case scenario, she still hits very hard, bro. Like, I love this champion. I wish I had a 7-star version. I have a 6-star Ascended, which obviously is not good enough for Battlegrounds. If I had a 7-star, I would take her to rank 4 with the skip special 3 button being added to BGs. Now we're fighting this Maestro. This is the matchup I was on about earlier. In the early days of Maestro being a defender, she was my go-to counter for him because the way her nullify works is you just nullify buffs on your parry. You don't have to hit your opponent, you just parry them. And obviously Maestro can't glance your nullify because you're not actually attacking him. And that was a 45-second nuke right there. Insane, bro. I miss using this champion so much. I do genuinely think she will be a relevant champion in Battlegrounds in any meta you can use her in. Now we have a Nick Fury, and guess what? We nuke him in under a minute as well. All of these defenders are 7-star rank 4 level, by the way. So I was explaining how Sigil Witch works. The buffs she can gain are Prowess, Fury, Unblockable, and it's either Cruelty or Precision. I can't remember which one. And not only does she gain these buffs, she has a chance to give the opponent these buffs as well, which may sound bad, but it's actually good because If you parry your opponent, you'll steal the buffs off them. So if you give your opponent a Fury, a Prowess, you can just parry them. You'll steal that for yourself. And on top of that, of course, you'll gain power from Mystic Dispersion. What you do have to look out for though, is as you can see here, you can actually give your opponent a unblockable buff. You can parry this though. You can't block it. If you block it, you'll get hit in the face. But if you parry it, you will basically ignore the unblockable and steal the buff for yourself. She can't parry any unblockable attack. It has to be a unblockable buff though. So keep that in mind. And now we have a Sentinel. Really tanky defender, of course, not for Sigil Witch though, and we don't even have to worry about Sentinel's last 15% of his health, where he gains those armor ups and starts getting a shit ton of power gain, because the degenerations are just going to tick this guy right down, make him into a complete joke. And yeah, Sigil Witch, she's so good. So we copy that buff there. We actually got maximum chaos there. Basically, like I mentioned, every time that timer runs out, your opponent has a chance to gain a buff. You also have a chance to inflict maximum chaos, which will either give you or your opponent all of the buffs which Sigil Witch has in her arsenal, which is obviously very good because it's going to feed Mystic Dispersion a lot. It's going to give you a Fury, a Prowess, a Unblockable, and a Cruelty. So if you get really lucky, Sigil Witch can be even faster if you gain that maximum chaos. And now we have a Mr. Sinister. Now, the thing is, Sigil Witch does actually have access to heal block, not only heal block but power sting and a armor break debuff. You need high sig for this. Once she's at sig 200, these debuffs will last 3 seconds and you gain them each time the instability timer runs out. But they just don't last long enough, man. This is the one part which annoys me about Sigil Witch. What's even the point of giving her these debuffs, because they're such a short duration that it's not even useful. I do genuinely wish these debuffs lasted like 10 seconds, and then it would actually be a really nice addition, a really useful addition to her kit, make her sig ability actually worth investing in. This champion does not need dupe, by the way, whatsoever. The only thing she gets off the dupe was those debuffs which I mentioned, and even at sig 200, they just don't last a lot. They just don't last long enough to actually matter. Okay, now we have a Onslaught. Now this matchup is a bit tricky because of course you want to parry with Sigil Witch, you cannot parry Onslaught. So what we're going to do here is just hit him normally, gain our instability, then start parrying and stealing the buffs off him when we're close to a special 3 to finish him off. By the way, you don't actually have to stun your opponent. As long as you parry, if the opponent is stun immune, you can still steal their buff. So keep that in mind. She does work against stun immune opponents. You just don't want to parry Onslaught a bunch because obviously you get that daunted on you and then you can't get willpower healing and then you're going to take a bunch of neuro shock damage. But yeah, she is actually still pretty good for this fight. Definitely not her best matchup by any means, but she does still cook Onslaught if you need her to. How fast was that? That was 1 minute 02. Not the fastest, but again, not the most ideal matchup. So I'll take that, bro. That's very solid. Now we have a Null, and Null doesn't really have any buffs to take advantage of. So I just wanted to show this fight. Obviously, Sigil Witch does not need any buffs to take advantage of because she gives buffs to her opponent. So like, yeah. And we're not going to go for a special 3 here because Null has that degeneration resistance for some reason. Most random ability in the game, degeneration is literally a mystic ability, and they decide to give a cosmic champion degen resistance. But whatever, Null kind of goes against the class wheel anyway by not being reliant on buffs as a cosmic champion. But as I was yapping, that fight was over in 42 seconds just with spamming special 2s. And now the last fight of the video, we have this Hulkling, who is not available as a 7-star, but this is a rank 4 7-star level Hulkling. If they do ever decide to release him, Sigil Witch will absolutely cook him. Another thing about her special 3 is it gains extra attack rating for each buff on the opponent. I think it's up to 5 buffs, and Yes, a lot of extra attack rating, so her special 3 hits really hard against Hulkling. Doesn't quite finish him off, but of course the degenerations do. But that's going to be the end of the video, fellas. You don't even need to tell me if you think this champion is underrated, because I don't want to hear it. She is underrated. She's goated, and I would rank her up if I had her.